Hey, Michelle, how's it going today?
Good. I mean,
Good.
Lindsay, which episode should we
Mm.
start with?
Well, I guess the great listener question we had, I don't know.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so in this role play to jump into our episode straight into it, Michelle. What did I say? I said something kind of strange.
Right. So I asked you your opinion about something, and then you said your answer. You sounded kind of unsure, and then you said, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, and this is really interesting. I had taken this for granted before. I never thought about the fact that we do say that when we give our opinion, but our lovely listener Pedro Paulo has brought this to our
Hmm.
attention. So I am excited
Yeah.
to bring out his question. But first, guys, hit the follow button on the podcast or wherever you listen, whether it's YouTube, hit subscribe. Make sure we drop right into your queue 5 days a week. All right.
That's right.
All
Okay. Yeah,
right.
this is a good question. This comes from YouTube, another place that's great to ask your
Yes.
questions. Lindsay, would you like to read it for us?
All right, here we go. So Pedro Paulo says, a cultural topic that you guys could talk about is how much Americans love to end sentences with I don't know. In other countries, especially here in Brazil, that would sound confusing or strange. It's like, how come you don't know what you just said? Talking about this would be fun.
It is gonna be fun. I know. I saw this
Yeah.
question. I thought this is a really fun one. I'm excited for this one. So, yeah, Lindsay, this is something I never thought about, but when you think about it, it seems pretty common, don't you think?
It seems pretty common, and I can understand the function it provides, right? And we'll
Right.
talk about the function, the reason it's there.
Yeah.
And it also ties into things I've learned in other languages.
Mm.
This function exists from my knowledge in other languages too. So, but it is a good point, right? How come, I love his quote, how come you don't know what you just said? I love it. I love it. Good question. Good
Uh,
question.
I love it too. I love it too. This is really fun. Okay, so I mean, why do you think Americans do this?
Oh, I think they do it as I can't remember what the term is. In my graduate program, we actually studied this. It's kind of a form of backpedaling, socially
Hedging?
backpedaling. Maybe it's
Like
hedging. Maybe it's hedging.
softening?
Yeah,
Yeah.
softening, hedging, backpedaling a tiny bit because the thinking is you've just made a proposal, some sort of proposal. You proposed something, a plan, but you're not sure if everyone's going to agree or want to do that. So you don't want to feel too bossy or too forward. So you
Mhm.
hedge back a tiny bit.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's
so
what
it's
we're
less
doing.
direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, also it could show that you're being flexible, right? Maybe that
Yeah.
your opinion could change. Like something somebody says could change your opinion or your plan. So similar idea of just not being completely set in your ways.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It basically means you're trying to say, "I'm in a collaborative mindset with you, with the person I'm talking with. Here's my idea, but we don't have to do that. I'm open to
Right.
something else." So when you put it in that context, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Right. But at the same time, it can sometimes show that you're not confident
Yes.
in your
Yes.
statement or answer. And that's what we want to be
Yes.
careful.
Totally.
And it can also show maybe you're not confident in someone else. So we're going to be going
Mhm.
over these today,
Mhm.
these
Mhm.
specific ways, these specific functions that I thought of when I thought about why I say or why Americans say I don't know all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do some examples first, Michelle, and then we'll get a little deeper into this concept. All
Okay.
right.
Mhm.
So here's an example. The white would definitely look best, or the pink. I don't know. That's frustrating, right? Especially if you're asking someone for their opinion, which dress looks best on me. I would be annoyed if the person said
Yeah.
it there because I just want your opinion so I can
Right.
decide which dress to get, you
Right,
know?
right. So
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the function of kind of giving your opinion when you're giving your opinion, but you want to back off a little bit. So a decision or an opinion.
Yeah.
Um, so then here's another one. I love that Mexican restaurant. I don't know. It's whatever you want.
Again, a little frustrating. I can understand where Pedro's coming from here. It's frustrating to hear this, right? Because I probably just asked you, where would you like to dine tonight? Right. And you
Mhm.
said, oh, I just love that Mexican restaurant. I don't know. It's whatever you want, or what we can do
Right.
whatever you want. So you're really you're giving an
Right.
opinion, and then you're saying we can do whatever.
Right.
So yeah,
Yes.
there are times that this is more annoying than others. These are annoying examples, right, Michelle?
Exactly. Yes. Annoying examples with
Yeah.
Lindsay and Michelle. Okay. Right. A suggestion. You've made a suggestion, but you're kind of open.
Yeah.
Or you could say, I think there's a sale on still. I don't know. So that's a little
A
different.
little, yeah. Yeah.
That's genuinely being unsure of something.
A little less annoying because, again, when someone asks you for an opinion or a plan, they usually want you to give them an idea and be pretty confident in that idea. But here it's a little different, again, because you're just not exactly sure if the sale's happening. So you're being honest. You actually don't know. That's just more
Right.
straightforward.
Right, right, exactly. And then this one is an interesting one. This is about confidence in someone else. Lindsay,
Mm.
what is this one?
Okay. She told me she'll be there at 8, but I don't know. All right. So now what
Right.
I'm saying is what I know about this person is she's usually late, fashionably late. Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right, exactly. So this one, maybe you don't have information, but maybe you just don't have the confidence in someone and you're kind of projecting that in what you're saying.
Yeah. The other thing I would say, it can show up sometimes when we're stating opinions about maybe larger societal trends or issues going on, maybe
Mhm.
politics, where you
Mhm.
put out an idea. Hey, this is what I've been seeing lately. I just don't know if I
Mm.
agree with this. I don't know. That might have a use. Right. Because you're
Yeah.
not exactly sure what the other person's going to think about this big, important topic. So you're hedging a little bit there. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good time to hedge.
Okay. All right, Michelle. So, do we think this is a good idea to use overall?
I think it really depends on how often you use it,
Right.
who you're using it with, and what you're trying to do. So I mean, think back to, I mean, Lindsay was basically rating the examples by how annoying they were.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, it can show a lack of confidence if you use it in a certain way. And also if you use it all the time,
Mhm. I think it can
that's going to be
yeah, sorry,
what
Michelle.
you're known for. No, it's okay.
Right, you don't wanna be known for that. I also think it can show a lack of comfort with silence. I think sometimes people will use this if there's silence and they're afraid they'll say their opinion and then it's quiet, and then they're, like,
Ah.
panicking. They're panicking. They're like, "Oh, but I don't know."
Okay.
Right?
Right. That's a really good one.
And
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
yeah, and I think that's pretty uniquely American. Our style's
Un
very much allergic to silence.
Allergic to silence, I love that. So yeah, that's true. I mean, it can also be used to show humility, right? Maybe, oh, but I don't know. You're just trying to show that it all depends on why you're saying it. So I
Yeah.
think it's okay to use, but you don't want to become known for this being your expression. It would be like if somebody said, "I'm sorry" all the time, and we've talked about that. Um,
Right.
but at the
Yes.
same time, it can be useful and quite functional. So I think it can be very helpful, but we just always have to consider why we're saying it.
Yeah, and I do think that, American English is not the only place we see this. When I lived in Japan, I studied a little Japanese, started to try to connect the culture with the language in my mind.
Mhm.
And the word choto is not the same thing. So it's not exactly the same. From my understanding, I believe it kind of means no, but I don't want to say no, right? So it's
Mm.
not the same thing, but it's in the same ballpark of showing humility,
Interesting.
not wanting to be too direct. When you disagree, you're not going to say, no, I disagree. You're going to say, choto
Right.
des, choto.
Right.
And so apologies if
Interesting.
I got that wrong to our Japanese listeners, but a little bit of the same ballpark. So I do think we find this in languages around the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
we're social beings, right? If we are just stating our opinion all the time and just plowing through life and not looking at who's in front of us and who's around us and how they might feel, we're not going to
Mhm.
succeed socially in life, and
Right.
we won't be able to survive evolutionarily, right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And we
Yeah.
want to survive.
Yes. I don't mean that literally now, but
No,
we've
I know.
evolved in this way to think about people around us. So that's
Right.
kind of where that comes into play. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. And do you think there are any other expressions that give off a similar vibe?
Sure. Yeah. We can give our listeners some other options if they don't want to always keep saying, I don't know. And we do advocate reducing this. We agree somewhat with our listener here, reducing it in certain scenarios. But here are some other things we could say. I'm not quite sure. Michelle, what
Mhm.
would that look like?
Right. Or I'm not sure would be fine too. You could say he could be there at 8, but it could be 9. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. See, it's just a little bit more articulate. It's adding a little bit more clarity that you don't know the answer, right? You're confused or you're just unsure of the answer, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. And the next one is who knows?
Yep. Who knows?
So we could try getting to the restaurant and seeing if they have a table, but who knows?
I like that. Or here's another one. I'm open. Right. I
Mhm.
really think we should consider painting the cabinets blue, but I'm open. And what does that mean? You're open to
To other suggestions, to ideas. Yeah.
yes. Yes. I love those. Excellent. So those are giving us some really good alternatives that we don't have to always end with I know. I think the key here is don't end with I don't know as a filler. Don't
Right.
let it be a filler, filling silence or just filling awkwardness or just as
Right.
a kind of like an or a like. Don't let it become like
Yeah.
that. That's when we get into trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
If you make sure that it has a function, that it's being used with a purpose, that's going to
Mhm.
be the most beneficial.
I love that. All right, Michelle, role play time. Let's do it.
Okay, here we are. Future roommates buying furniture.
ah,
Lindsay, you think we'd be good roommates?
um, I'm not sure about that, Michelle. I don't know. I'm gonna
I don't
say I
know.
don't
Yeah.
know.
All right.
I'm not
Here we
sure, but I will say this is a really good setup here, the scenario, because social context matters. Our
Yeah.
relationship really matters, and I remember how lightly I tiptoed when I met my roommate for the first time freshman year. Do you
Yep.
remember
Yep.
that? Like, you're
Yes.
so careful and you're looking for any sign of what kind of person is this?
Right.
This is the person you're going to share a room with your first year in college or any year in
Yeah.
college. It's so important.
Yeah. You're feeling
Um,
them out.
and so the social context is really heightened here. So we're just
Yeah.
saying it really matters what they think of us. So here we go, and what we think of them. Okay,
Okay.
so we could look on Wayfair or maybe IKEA. I don't know.
I'm good with either. IKEA usually has great deals, but who knows?
Yeah, I like Wayfair, but I'm open.
Maybe we could consider Bob's Discount Furniture. I don't know.
We're not going to get any furniture. Yeah, I know of it, but I'm not sure. Oh boy. Okay, this is probably not a
we
very
need
productive
we need
conversation.
help.
Someone needs to be like, go to Wayfair. Here's the directions. Get in the
Right.
car
Right.
right now. We're going.
Yes.
This could be dangerous. So clearly, both of you are trying to hedge and not say anything too definitive.
You don't want to step on each other's toes.
This is an exaggerated example, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You may,
Yeah.
in a real conversation, find one or two of these I don't knows or I'm opens, but you wouldn't find this much, of course. But we're just showing you. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So here you said, so we could look on Wayfair or maybe IKEA. I don't know.
I'm worried about our room.
Yeah.
You said I'm good with either. IKEA usually has great deals, but who knows?
Okay. And then you said, yeah, I like Wayfair, but I'm open. So it's
Oh,
funny.
jeez.
You're saying what you like, but then we're not getting anywhere.
We're really not getting anywhere. And I doubt that this would happen, right? I really doubt it. I would hope
Yeah.
that this would not get to this. One
Yeah.
of us would just say, okay, let's get in the car. Let's go to Wayfair. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. But just showing you the examples again.
Mhm.
Maybe we should consider Bob's Discount Furniture. I don't know.
And then you said, yeah, I know of it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right. So again, not a realistic example. It really paints the I don't know in a bad light, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is a social use for it. There's a reason, especially in contexts where you need to make a good impression. We need to be super aware of who's around us. We just don't want it to become a filler.
Right.
Michelle, where else
Yeah.
can we go?
All right, guys, speaking of opinions, go on over to All Ears English episode 23, 24. This is indisputably the best way to talk about your opinions in English.
Yeah, Michelle, any takeaway for our listeners where we should leave them, what they should think about?
I think that the biggest takeaway is this is good to use when you have a function for it, not as a filler. To me, that's the
Yeah.
biggest takeaway
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
came about from this episode. What do you think, Lindsay? Anything else?
Yeah, and it's a great question, and
Mm,
it gives us an opportunity to look at language in cultural context too. If you
yes.
see this kind of language function appearing in a lot of places in any given language, then we know that it's a culture which
Yeah.
is really reliant
Right.
on social threads and connections, right?
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you make these observations, there's often something that you can tell about why it's used a lot and what that says about people. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that we got this question, and keep sending them our way.
Great one. Great episode. All right, Michelle, talk to you soon. Have a good
All
day.
right. All
Bye.
right. Bye, Lindsay.